Go ahead, Vice Chairman.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and bring to order the regular planning and zoning meeting, or commission meeting for Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. First up on the agenda is roll call.
Vice Chairman Dana Hennis,
Present.
Commissioner Brian Clark,
Present.
Commissioner Jenny Greger, Commissioner Jim Main.
Hold on.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, first up on the agenda tonight is the consent agenda.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next up is item number 3 in the public hearings. So item A on that is been tabled from January 9th, 2024. It's case number 23-06-AN, 2305-S, and 23-14-DR design review for Bristol Creek subdivision. Troy?
Good evening, members of the commission. For the record, Troy Buchanan, Senior Planner, CUNA Planning and Zoning Staff. The applications before you this evening request annexation of approximately 12.49 acres, and they would like to use the R6 and the R12 zones. The applicant is also requesting preliminary plat approval in order to divide the 12.49 acres into a total of 73 residential lots, 23 single-family lots, 1 multifamily lot, and 4 common lots. The applicant also seeks design review approval for the common area landscaping. Public Works in Exhibit 2.20 states that Public Works can support Bristol Creek subdivision development with the conditions that are listed in the engineer's memo. Planning and Zoning Department staff agrees with the conditions listed in the engineer's memo, and staff has reviewed the proposed rezone, the annexation, the pre-plat, and the design review for compliance with CUNA City Code and also with Idaho state statutes and the CUNA Comprehensive Plan. And should the commission recommend approval of the applications and approve the design review tonight, staff recommends that the applicant be subject to the proposed recommended conditions of approval listed in staff's report. The applicant is present this evening. You do have a full record this time, and the applicant does have a presentation, and it's on the big screen. And I'm here for any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions for Troy at this time?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. Okay. The applicant. And as you approach the podium, if you'd state your name and address for the record, and if you push the bottom of the microphone to green.
And you can also drive your presentation with the mouse. Yep.
Thank you very much. Katie Miller, 1119 East State Street, Eagle, Idaho, 83616. Troy, thank you very much for your help on this and presentation of the application. As Troy mentioned, this project is located on the northeast corner of 10 Mile and Hubbard Road. Property is about 12.5 acres. Ooh, it's a fast driver. Future land use map for CUNA shows this site as a mixed-use site. North of us is medium-density residential. East is future low-density. South, more mixed-use, but is in the county. And then to the west, we have mixed-use, which is, I believe, already annexed into the city. Our proposed application is for 2 zones. It would be for an R6 around the perimeter and an R12 interior to the site. This project that we're bringing before you does meet the comprehensive plan, meets all of your, or meets your different objectives, which I've listed here, and we're excited about it. As Troy said, preliminary plat around the perimeter is the R6 single-family residential units for a total of 21 lots. And then centrally located and on our west boundary is one lot with 13 fourplex units consisting of 52 units there, for a gross density of 5.8 units per acre. This is really, yikes. Pathways, here's a good picture of the pathways. On the north side, you have the state lateral, which separates the properties to the north of us. And then our site, that easement is a 100-foot easement. We've got the 10-foot pathway. We've got connected sidewalks throughout the community going down to Hubbard Road. In the northwest corner is a dog park for an amenity. And then centrally located kind of on the east side, there is a playground and a sheltered picnic area for the residents to use. Open space for this site is 15.7%. That's usable open space, not counting any buffers or anything like that. Access for the site, our primary access will be off of Hubbard Road. We will make the connection to Brayburn to the north. There's an existing street there. It'll require that we cross the state lateral. Utilities for the site are all available. We've got sewer in 10 Mile, and then water and pressurized irrigation in Hubbard Road currently. Initially, we weren't intending on phasing this plan. We will phase the plan due to sewer capacities and the city's choice to only allow 40 EDUs per phase at a time. So we're going to start with phase 1 being on the east side, making our secondary connection. There would be 38 units total of the 48 available to us. And then we'd come in with phase 2 at a later date for an additional 35 units there. As far as timing for construction, assuming everything looked perfect, went perfect, we're looking at probably not doing construction or starting construction until the end of 25-26, and then building permits towards the end of 26, with occupancy being at the beginning of 27. So this truly at full build out is probably a 4 to 5 year project easily. Here's just some different elevations for the single-family portion of the site. We've got single-story, 3-car garage, 2-story, 2 and 3-car garages. And there's some other elevations. At this time, we chose not to come through with the fourplex units because they are kind of being designed. The city does require us to come back after a city council approval with the design review process. And so that at that point, it would be a much more fresh, realistic. I don't necessarily want anything in the record if we got to change it in the future and then we're held to an older standard. So with that, I will stand for any questions, and we'd appreciate your support for approval.
Sorry, my computer all of a sudden has died, has frozen. Any questions?
Not at this time.
Not currently.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, magic touch over here. Okay, with that, I will open the public hearing at 6:10. And we have a couple of names on the sheet here. Is there anybody present that has not got a chance to sign up to testify on this application that would like to? Okay. And seeing no hands, I will call the first one was Judy Schmidt. Would you like to oh, you got not testify. I got to read. Thank you. So next one up would be Robbie Reno.
Robbie Reno, Kuna School District, 711 East Porter Street, Kuna, Idaho, 83634. I just want to thank Ms. Bailey. She's been working with us. One thing she didn't show you is a path down to Hubbard Road and kind of help with the flow of kids to the I think it's an arterial road that'll allow bus pickup there instead of the main way. That's kind of our hope there. as we all know, the hard part with us that we have to represent to you is that we haven't passed a bond, and this site feeds into Silver Trail, which is over capacity, Kuna Middle School, which is in 90% capacity, and then Kuna High and Swan Falls, which is at capacity. So we just got to explain that to you, but we continue to work with them with that, but we just had to say with the reality of where we're at with the bond and not having capacity in our elementary. So thank you.
Thank you. That being the last name on the list, I'll go ahead and close the, is there any rebuttal that you would like to make?
Katie Miller, 1119 East State Street, Eagle, Idaho, 83616. As Robbie said, we've been working together on multiple projects. We understand that the schools in their capacity is a serious concern. My client has donated 2 parcels of land for future school sites. So I think it's really important. It's not that we're overlooking. We're at a point, we understand the concerns. We want to help the concerns. But the bonds are critically important. And so Robbie and I have been talking. I know there's been a handful of developers working recently with the BCA to say, how do we make this happen? So, my question, what I'd like to see accomplished is, first of all, keeping this in perspective. The entire site with a 5-year build-out would bring 28 kids total with the student generation rate with your recent report that was done. Phase 1, again, looking at occupancy later in 2026 would be 14 students. So I'd like to think we can work together to figure out how the bond's going to pass. We helped with Valley View. As you guys know, maybe you may or not, Valley View's bonds had passed or failed 2 years in a row. And we got together with the BCA and community members, fundraised and helped market this cause, and it did recently pass, which was great because, you guys need to grow. People want to be here. You have a beautiful community. The kids need adequate schools. We don't underestimate that, but I think the bigger thing is, for me, is looking at the impact of the school, looking at what my client has done to support the school districts to date and of recent, and then what we can do moving forward to find solutions. That really is the thing is, Robbie had mentioned looking at school district boundaries and maybe redoing those to take impacts off of schools that are at capacity and maybe running them to other schools. I don't know how it works. It's been great to talk to him to get a better understanding of his reality, right? So yes, we understand there's an impact. We're willing to work with the school districts to get the solution, and that is getting that bond passed. That's the long-term goal and what needs to happen. So
Appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah.
With that, I'll close the public testimony for this application at 6:14, and that leaves us up with our deliberation. I think overall, this is a good use of a little area. It's got good transition between the neighboring subdivision going into the corner at the probably commercial in the future. I don't have real big concerns other than just the school district, and I think this brings a good point. I know they work with the school district well, so that's just something I like, the idea of the fundraising that they did with the Valley View School District. I think, that could be something that would really help the schools out.
Honestly, looking at the site plan, I really like the fact that the fourplexes are tucked in. Creates a good boundary. I think that does create a strong community because you have a good mix of product. I was a little concerned at first when I saw R12 because I'll admit I cringe a little bit, but no, this is a very good use.
Yeah, I like the layout. It's
And plenty of parking, that was my big concern.
Yeah.
52 units.
Yeah, and there's a lot of open space for travel, for traffic, for, additional guests and such. I like the layout. I think it's done well. It's very creative.
And, yeah. Jim?
Question for, maybe for Katie. Are the lots along Hubbard, are those R6 as well? They just look a little bit narrow and skinny. Oh,
Thank you. You're correct. They are R6 on Hubbard. The minimum lot requirements for an R6 zone is 4,500 square feet. So we do meet those. I know our max, wrote it down, excuse me. I don't know what they are along Hubbard, other than they are not less than that. Our minimum lot size in here is 5,750, and our max is 10,600.
so on those lots along Hubbard, the product that you're showing for the R6 lots, they all look too wide to fit on those lots. So do you have a different design for the narrower lots?
Well, it wouldn't be a three-car garage on those lots. It would be a two-car, probably two-story.
Okay.
And yes, there are products that are available for that.
You know what the minimum lot width is?
35 is your minimum, right? Troy, could you step in and help me on your frontage there?
I believe sorry, Troy Buchanan for the record, for the R6, it's 40.
Okay.
But it's a recommended street frontage.
Okay.
Okay. And then one other question, Katie. On the west property line against the neighbor there, is there any kind of buffer between this development and their property?
There is not currently. No.
Okay. Would it be possible to have some kind of buffer there?
Possibly, and, oh, thank you. I just want to, I'm a visual. Possibly. So with you asking that question, what kind of buffer in your head would be adequate?
Well, I would think that if I had an acreage there and somebody came and built an R12 development right behind my house, I might like not to see it. And I realize that the property along 10 Mile is probably going to end up being commercial
Correct.
one of these days. But, a small berm and a fence possibly.
That is something we can look at. We've got some room there. I don't know about the berm. I think landscape might be a good option, more heavily landscaped to create that buffer. Would that be something that would be?
Yeah, I think
Realistic.
that would work for me.
And they do call out a 6-foot solid vinyl fence along there too.
Correct.
Yeah. I noticed the fence samples you had here had razor wire on top.
Constantine wire? It's dangerous out there.
Yes.
No.
I missed that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What was I looking at? No, I was just looking at that. Oh, steep.
Yeah.
That's to get up over the lateral.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
Any concerns? Now, our application here is both a set of recommendations for city council and design review.
Correct.
So we have to review the design review portion of it, I guess, as well. So to me, I think their landscaping has been laid out well with the addition of something possibly to the transition between the west side. Otherwise, they've got a good layout of the trees, the grass throughout the whole property, and I think it's covers more than what's adequate.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see any issues with, excuse me, with the landscaping other than the west boundary.
The only thing I'm looking at is, we do have landscape keys in the parking. Looks like the idea is to have trees in most of those. Yeah, I don't think, okay. No, that looks good.
Well, with that, I would stand for a motion or motions.
Sure. Mr. Vice Chairman, I move that we recommend approval of case numbers 23-06-AN and 23-05-S with conditions as listed in the staff report, and additionally, additional landscape buffer along the west end of the boundaries.
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Vice Chairman, I move that we approve case number 23-14-DR with conditions as listed in the staff report, as well as additional landscape buffer along the west boundary.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Next item up on the agenda is case number 23-08-AN. The annexation for Lot 3, Block 3 of Avalon Orchard Tracks amended. Jessica?
Good evening, Vice Chairman and Commissioners. For the record, Associate Planner Jessica Hall, 751 West 4th Street, CUNA. The applicant before you tonight requests to annex 4.89 acres located at the terminus of East Rock Falls Lane into CUNA city limits with an R4 medium-density residential zone. My mouth couldn't keep up. The subject site has a contiguous touch to the current city limits on the north and is considered a Category A annexation per Idaho Code 50-222. Upon review, staff finds this request to be compliant with CUNA City Code Title V, our comprehensive plan, and Idaho Code 50-222. With that, I can answer any questions you have.
Any questions so far?
No.
Not so far.
Okay, and do we have any presentation from the applicant at all?
If you'd like to, Sid.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, Planning and Zoning Commission, Sid Anderson, 2500 East Rock Falls Lane, CUNA, Idaho. I am the applicant here on behalf of the owner, Boyd Anderson. The owner wishes to annex 4.89 acres of his land into the city of CUNA to take advantage of a lot split process that's available to him within the city limits. He actually plans to create 2 1-acre lots and a 3-acre lot from this, or approximately 3-acre lot. This would bring diversity of community as well as diversity of housing staff within the city of CUNA limits. I realize that the application before you is just the annexation, but I just wanted to give a little background on that. The annexation, as noted by the planner, does meet all of the requirements for the city code, and I am just here to answer any questions and ask that you approve this annexation.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, this one looks pretty straightforward.
I appreciate you kind of offering up what he was, the intent of it. That was one of my questions, so thank you. With that, I will open the public testimony for this application at 6:25. And seeing no sign up on the sheet, is there anybody in the audience that would like to testify on this application? Seeing none, I will close the public testimony at 6:26. That brings up our discussion.
Well, personally, I think seeing an R4 zone is attractive. And I think we do need some diversity in lot sizes in CUNA. So I have no issues with this project.
I agree. I like the the idea that they're just kind of splitting this out into larger parcels, so I don't foresee any issues. With that, then I'd stand for a motion.
Getting there. Mr. Vice Chairman, I move that we motion to recommend approval for case number 23-08AN with conditions as listed in the staff report.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Good, I grabbed the right one. B, all right, cool.
Okay, next up on the agenda is case number 23-05-ZC, 23-06-S, and 2313-DR. Design review for Falcon Crest East subdivision. Troy?
Good evening, Commissioners. For the record, Troy Buchanan, CUNA Planning and Zoning Staff, Senior Planner. So the applications that are before you this evening for Falcon Crest East, staff would actually request that this be tabled to the next available meeting, possibly to the February 13th, 2024 meeting at 6 p.m. because of an outside agency's update to their staff report. Staff believes it's necessary for the commission to have a full record in front of them in order to make a decision, especially as it is a public hearing matter. And staff has spoke with the applicant. They are not here tonight. They were in agreement with that staff recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Will that be to a date certain?
Yeah, February 13th, they suggested.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I move that we table case numbers 23-05ZC and 2306-S to a date certain of February 13th, 2024.
There's also,
Additionally, I move that we table case number 23-13-DR to a date certain of February 13th, 2024.
Seconded.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And that concludes our agenda items. Is there any reports or additional items from the city staff? Thank you.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I move that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.